my perspective on the school stays that like it's a very good school, and I don't think that's ever going to change because well, it was my education and I liked it.
It's Terry from Our Kids. I recently spoke with Greg Bibaut, an alumnus of Lycée Louis Pasteur, a small bilingual school in Alberta. He's now gone on to pursue his civil engineering degree at McGill University. Take a look. So Greg, could you start off by giving us a summary of what you've been up to since graduating from Lycée?
Since I graduated, I came to Montreal to study civil engineering at McGill University. It's been going great. I just finished my second year, and yeah, super happy right now.
Awesome. And how has being at Lycée influenced you going to McGill and majoring in civil engineering?
I'm French. Like I was born in France and raised in France until I was 13 years old. And then that's when I moved to Calgary and to the Lycée. And I had, well, I really heard of McGill through the Lycée and the teachers, and some also alumni from the Lycée who went to McGill. And like I never really had plans to study in Canada before. Like I just thought I was gonna like leave Canada whenever I graduated from high school and then go back to France. But no, I heard about McGill, heard about more Canadian universities too, like U of T and others, whatnot. And yeah, just did some more research and found the one I liked.
Okay.
And got accepted, thankfully.
Right, sure. And I know you graduated in 2018, so
Yep.
maybe a few years back, but if you were to write a high school resume listing all your experiences and accomplishments, what would that look like?
The Lycée, there's not many students at like in every class in the Lycée. Like it's a very small school, which can also allow for more opportunities, I find. Like a lot of international exchanges opportunities are possible. For example, I went abroad for 3 months in Spain, in Valencia, in the Spanish host family. Went amazing, and that would have never been possible if the school hadn't suggested the possibility and found a correspondent too that came to Calgary beforehand.
Right.
I think it was obviously great to learn Spanish because now I even still use Spanish with my roommate or whatever, and it's just a great skill to have. Also, just discovering new cultures. So that international opportunities, and also opportunities for like contests and stuff. There's a contest that high school students are kind of automatically enrolled in by the French teacher, at least when I was there. Did it every year. It's called Poetry and Voice.
Okay.
And it's basically it's a national poetry reciting contest,
Okay.
if it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
You learn a poem and then recite it in front of the class and then the school, and then as you get along, it gets more and more national. It's Canada wide. That's pretty good too. There's also like the math contests that like little math contests that are also Canada wide or with France too. Just so many opportunities that that I don't think I've found a lot in French schools, which I've always been to, and I don't really know about other Canadian schools.
Right. And you spoke about the school being very small.
Yeah.
How big was it? Like how many students?
up to middle school, so up to grade 9, the classes have roughly 15 to 20 students per class.
Okay.
So it's small, but it's like, I think it's normal size for Canada, or like roughly the average. In
This is from
France, the
grade,
class is at 30 students. So
right, this is from grade 3 to grade 9, right?
this is from uh, even before kindergarten.
Okay. Okay.
From like the 4 years old. Is that when you start going to
Yeah.
school? 4 years old up to grade 9.
Okay.
Yeah, there's classes of 15 to 20 students, and divided into I don't know, 2 or 3 classes depending on the number of students. And then after grade 9, what happens is there's a majority of Canadian students, so Anglophone Canadian students in the classes up to grade 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then Canadian parents consider that, yeah, my kids learned French. They can go back to the Canadian system now,
Mm-hmm.
get IB or something else, just a high school diploma. And that leaves only the French students, or the also international students in high school. And it resulted in me, my personal experience, of course. We were 6 students in grade 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then little rough year in grade 11 when we were 3, then 2.
Right.
So it's pretty special.
Right.
I think that's like a definitely unique experience.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like a family.
Yeah, but also like it's not that bad because, well, in class you can't hide.
Mm-hmm.
You have to listen, you have to learn, and you also it's almost like private tutoring. You're like just speaking with the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like class is a discussion, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the best way that I learn.
Right. So you touched upon it very briefly, but if you could think back to when you and your family were choosing lycée, talk to me about how and why both of you decided to go there.
We were in France, and basically we just my family got an opportunity to move abroad,
Mm-hmm.
and we had 2 choices. We actually had Calgary or Perth in Australia.
Okay.
And what actually tipped the balance in favor of Calgary was the lycée, because it was a French school. Now, well, just like if it was a French school, like not French immersion or francophone, really French, that could allow me to get my French baccalaureate, like the diploma that you get when you graduate from an actual French school in France.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's great. And if you could pick one thing that you most appreciate about the school, what would that be?
That I most appreciate would actually be like how how well students get along with the teachers in like higher older ages. Sorry,
Okay.
Because like, yeah, you're 2 students in a class with the teacher. It's just like a discussion. Well, it's like, it might be a little cheesy, but it's almost like your friends, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Then because like you're also like 16, 17, you start being more mature.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really nice. Like it's a nice atmosphere, like, of learning. And also the classes may be like very small in high school, but grades 10 to 12 tend to like all hang out together,
Okay.
because like it's just like a group of 12, 13 students basically.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody gets along with everybody.
Yeah,
Like
that's awesome.
there's no mean people over there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And again, not to sound too repetitive, but what would you say? Sorry, at least say, um, what's the one thing that differentiates Lycée as a private school from all the other ones?
I'd say, well, one thing is definitely the double diploma,
Mm-hmm.
because we prepare obviously the French baccalaureate, which is a pretty recognized diploma. I think it's even more recognized than the high school diploma of Alberta. But we also passed the high school diploma.
Right.
So like when I graduated, I got both my diplomas, because yes, all the courses are taught in French, so like math, history, and everything. But we also have English language arts and social studies in English. So like we also prepare quite a bit for the high school diploma.
Right.
And I think the fact like having both of those can just broaden your opportunities. And
Absolutely.
First you can put both diplomas on your transcript, and that's a glow up, obviously. And also if you want to go to another country than Canada, the high school diploma might not be recognized, as well as the French bac. Or if you want to apply in Calgary or in Alberta, the high school diploma might be more recognized than the French bac, that people don't necessarily know there.
Okay. And if the school were to become personified, if it were to become a single person that we could get to know, how would you describe it in 3 words?
Okay. I might have to think a little about that one.
That's all right.
I'd say welcoming.
Okay.
Like welcoming in this like sociable sense and everything. Rigorous.
Okay.
Because rigorous. There's a certain work ethic still at the school. Like most Canadian families I know that know the Canadian and the French system. Well, that know the Canadian system, when they go, or when their kids go to the lycée, they find it quite hardworking and quite strict. I haven't really felt that coming from already a French background, but I've heard that. So I'd say rigorous, because it's still serious, you know. So I'll go welcoming, rigorous, and I'll say chill. I know it might be a little controversial, but it was pretty chill in the later years. The teachers are not like on our backs nonstop. Like there's a certain relationship of trust that comes in place, and that's just, you know, takes the pressure off, makes the learning better.
Right. And what would you say is Lycée's highest values that you see in actual practice?
Caring about each and every student, which is probably the one single thing that's that's very particular and that I've never seen before in French schools. It's that we have so few students that the class can go at a different pace for every student, basically. And the profs, like every teacher is somehow good. Like, I don't know if like you ever gone to if you've ever gone to any school, basically, and there's just several teachers that are less good. Like there's always like at least one. But at the lycée, like not really, no. Like every teacher is good, and they can understand the needs of every student. And they adapt the class based on that. And I think that's like really, really good quality.
Absolutely. And what would you say students and families would find surprising about Lycée?
What a lot of families find surprising is the lack of students in high school, for sure. Whenever I tell anybody that I meet here, like any friend, that we were 4 students in grade 12, they're like, oh, no way.
Right.
It's unthinkable that there could be so few students in high school. Like how does it work? But it does. And in I know like a lot of the families that enroll in the lycée are like have younger kids, Unfortunately, I don't have much experience with these ages because
Mm-hmm.
I simply haven't gone to the lycée before grade 8.
Mm-hmm.
Although like my sister's 5 years younger and she goes to the lycée since then, but
Okay.
uh, like I haven't really had her full experience either. So
And a lot of schools have a poster child. So I was wondering if you could describe for me what the typical student at Lycée would look like.
I would say a an open-minded person and like very friendly,
Mhm.
um, that speaks at least two languages,
Okay, right.
at least French and English,
Hmm.
because when you get to the end of high school, you're bilingual, like
Hmm.
almost for certain, and possibly three with the international exchange that is possible. Yeah, just very very open-minded about like cultures because well it's pretty diverse. In a high school there's a lot of international students that come just for 1 year.
Okay.
They come from really like everywhere in the world.
Hmm.
We get a lot of Spanish and Latino students that just come for the 1 year in grades 10 to 12. That like fills up the classes a little bit.
Right.
Once we had like a Belgian student from Congo who spoke Dutch as well. Crazy.
Yeah.
Um, it's yeah, it's really a cultural mix. So I'd say that the typical student would be very very open to other cultures. Probably go to a good university as well
Right. Right.
because well with the classes adapted to every student, um, the transcript is good.
Hmm.
Like the class averages are pretty high.
Right.
So like yeah, just happy.
Okay. And how do you think your experience at Lycée has shaped you today as a person?
I think it really taught me to care about others,
Hmm.
um, because well, you have to try and get along with everybody
Right.
because there's so few students that you make one enemy and like you make all enemies basically.
Right.
So it's not a matter of like being fake or not,
Mhm.
but it teaches you to like live in community,
Yes.
if it makes sense.
Yes,
So
it does.
I think I definitely learned that, uh, and yeah, that's the best quality basically.
Hmm.
Also, also, um, well, not necessarily like the school itself, but also like other students shaped me for who I am, and like a lot of a lot of great people that I met there that I still have contact with even today. We were three students out of four to go to McGill,
Okay.
and I'm still very very good friends with both of them. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome. And reflecting back on your experience there, if there's one thing that you could change about the school, what would that be?
more students,
More stu-
more students.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, bigger school, more students. Not that much, but at least a bigger high school.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like with I don't know, like even like a class of 10, you know.
Right.
But yeah, definitely because when I went on my exchange in Valencia, it's also the lycée in Valencia.
Okay.
So it was still a French school. Um, my class was 28 people,
Right. Yeah.
and like I found myself in that class, and I was like, "Damn, that's what it is to be, you know, in high school."
Yeah. Yeah.
So like what I think, and like no, I wouldn't say I regret it because I'm very happy with my current situation, and it
Hmm.
wouldn't have been possible without the lycée. But what I would improve, I'd say at the lycée is, yes, the size of classes, because it feels like I missed out on something maybe in high school, you know?
Okay. And you touched upon it a bit there, but now that you are 2 years removed from high school, how has your perspective on lycée changed and evolved over time?
I'd say that, well, when I arrived here,
Mm-hmm.
like McGill, pretty big university, it was almost like a shock as to like how many new people I was meeting per day, like in my first year.
Right.
Like so many names, so many people. I wasn't used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been pretty sociable. I like people, and I was just like pumped. I was excited
Mm-hmm.
about like all those new people, and I was like, are there even that many people in the city of Calgary? Like, you know,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
like I felt like the lycée is a pretty private experience.
Right.
Like I didn't meet a lot of people like outside of the school,
Mm-hmm.
um, and maybe like another thing I could change if I can go back to the last question is that maybe more opportunities with, for example, other schools, like events with with other schools in Calgary would be perfect. But my perspective on the school stays that like it's a very good school, and I don't think that's ever going to change because, well, it was my education and I liked it. But
Right.
yeah, I'd say more people and more open to the world. Let's say,
Okay.
well, to the little world, because to the to the international, that's good enough. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
But locally. Local.
yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay. And would you recommend lycée to other students?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
And then what
yeah.
would be the three biggest reasons why?
Three biggest reasons why.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many opportunities. First reason,
Mm-hmm.
so many opportunities after you graduate. You can basically go anywhere in the world that you want,
Mm-hmm.
because you have two diplomas. One that allows you to get a good reputation in Canada. One that allows you to get a good reputation worldwide. And so that's one. You can basically study whatever you'd like.
Yes.
Obviously based on also the grades
Mm-hmm.
that you've had, but yeah, that's one reason. But you also have to follow through until grade 12,
Mm-hmm.
because most students leave in grade 9 and then end up doing IB, and then most of them drop to partial IB and they missed out on the double diploma.
Mm-hmm.
So one, if you go through grade 12, then the world is open. Two, great people. Like it's like a little community. So when you make a friend, super great friend, usually, like I've made like some friends for life for sure. Like my two friends that came to McGill at the same time as me, I think we'll know each other forever probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like relationships that last, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Third, um, third reason. So yes, on the transcript it looks good and everything, but like also the quality of the education is crucial, and it is very good. Like students are like taught a good work ethic. Like there might be like a lot of homework, but
Yeah.
well, like compared to other schools, to other Canadian schools at least that I've heard of, but it's worth it. And you realize that in university, yeah, it was good to do your homework because now you're used to work and study.
Yeah. 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 And,
So yeah, it teaches you about how to study well.
right. let's take a hypothetical example. Like, let's say that you saw a family touring, like say right now. Like, what would you draw their attention towards?
I'd say maybe the common room of
Okay.
like the high school common room.
Okay.
Like, yes, we're like 12, 13 students, like let's say 15 max in the high school group.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very cozy room. Used to be a classroom.
Okay.
Very cozy room. There's couches. There's everything, and it's basically where you live in between classes.
Okay.
Like during high school years, so many good memories there, and yeah, like there's really much I don't know much to show for like the elementary school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, like a family that has a kid in elementary school, like
Okay.
it because it's a regular school there. It's
Right.
just like a pretty bilingual teaching, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it really just is like a normal school. Like there's normal classrooms,
Right.
normal
Yeah.
sizes. Like
I get
I don't
you.
have much to say about that, but
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
yeah, the one
And
thing is really the common room.
yeah, and
It's
then
amazing.
lastly, you were gonna answer, but what would be the one piece of advice that you would have to a student that's just about to enter lycée?
So like, students just about to enter are usually younger.
Okay.
So if I had one advice, it would be to not be afraid to speak the language that you're here to learn. So usually when a kid enters, they're either francophone and they're here and like they're gonna be surrounded with anglophone kids.
Mm-hmm.
And well, obviously those kids also speak French usually, but to not be afraid to learn English with them because everybody's very inclusive. There's no problem with that. Or an Anglophone kid who enters the class and then the class is taught in French. Like, but that's okay. There's there's French as a second language that's taught like to help Anglophone students learn French and get integrated with the French class as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the same with the French kids trying to learn English. When I arrived in grade 8,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know English very well.
Okay.
In France, English is not taught well. Let's say that most English teachers are a bit quirky.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, although I was a good student when I arrived at on my first day, um, the this one kid in my class who turned out to be in my class asked me, "Hey, are you in grade 8?" I had no idea what he said. No idea, no
Yeah.
clue.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I got put in the English as a second language
Mm-hmm.
instead of English language arts, which they were doing like literature and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, in 6 months, I was ready to integrate the class basically.